woke.com. Woke Marxism isn't just a bunch of crazy academic theory. It's also very practical. It's meant to be put into practice to transform the world by taking over institutions through activism. In order to do that, it wages unconventional warfare, or as it's been called in the past, nonlinear warfare, particularly narrative warfare. A key technique employed by these activists, especially in the media, is what is known as operational preparation of the environment, OPE. Woke Marxists lay narrative lines in advance of certain events so they can capitalize on them when the moment arrives. You see, that's exactly the same tactic that the American government is using today. It's what we just heard from Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations. They lay narratives out in advance so that you'll walk right into it. Right? You'll walk right into their trap, and then they can capitalize on it. Understanding how they prepare these mass lines of action is critical to diffusing them. It's quite important that we pay attention, that we pay close attention here, and honor Christ by speaking the truth in love. That we refuse to honor false and destructive narratives and learn how to spot and counter operational preparation of the narrative space. So here's your alert. Operation Drag Floyd is live. Now this is a term Lindsay has taken. He's put in the terms, George Floyd, where the circumstances are being set up for something tragic and dramatic for some unwitting person who professes anyway to be a Christian to walk right into a trap. So what we're here to tell you today is do not fall for this trap. It's coming. This trap is coming. Don't fall for it. And so we have to mention just one more time, after all of this coverage, now we've done some reading, a lot of reading and research over the past 48 hours on what we've presented here for you tonight, and many, many hours and weeks and months before this on these topics. There is no equal time, no equal representation of this leftist Marxist movement as you find the white supremacist movements represented online. No mention of the Marxist extreme leftists who have actually been out vandalizing the country. And we showed you earlier the website Beautiful Trouble. And there are many others. There's the Hammer. What was that, Summer? Do you remember what was the Hammer? Remember we did the Black Hammer? The Black Hammer group that we covered last year.
Oh yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah, that Black Hammer group. You're
right.
It was really for a lot of younger. I think it was for younger folks. Let's see. Black Hammer was one that didn't really show up in the news that much. It's the Black Hammer Party. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, it says that the feds are investigating Black Hammer. It said this last year. This is from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on it.
Yeah, again, one of these stories that comes up and it just has this shock value.
Yeah. The Black Hammer, let's see right here, they disavowed something here. Anyway, you can see that there are, now there certainly are organic movements out there, but there are far more of these operations. Anyway, so there's that. The point of this is that narrative control is accelerating. More evidence that the true believing church is and will continue to be targeted and slandered as a hate group. The agent provocateurs are the left hand of an evil enemy who is taunting you so that it can justify destroying you with the solution pre-prepared in its right hand. This is nonlinear, unconventional warfare, and it is an expensive, thought-out stratagem. So what you're seeing and what you probably will see play out here in the coming weeks or maybe months, where something's going to happen, where there's going to be some drag queen, some grown man who is dressed like a woman and over-sexualizing himself. Someone's going to show up and say, this is crazy, this is a grown man, and he's here with this group of children over-sexualizing himself. Someone's going to eventually, the point is, they want to draw you into that. They want to draw you in to reacting that way. Don't fall for it. The moneyed masters of modern mayhem have deployed the drag queens and their advocates in a social engineering strategy of escalation, provocation, and temptation to compel you to resist and respond with anger and violence. Do not fall for it. Do not fall for this trap. There are things you can do to help. Saul Alinsky said, and remember, Saul Alinsky is the one who dedicated his book, Rules for Radicals, to Lucifer, right? And that is the playbook. That is the Bible of the progressive left movement, Obama, Clinton's, that sort of era. Saul Alinsky said, the real action is in the enemy's reaction. So it's provocation.
Yeah, I did a little bit of just a quick look about the Black Hammer Party.
Okay.
And if you go to their website, and then they have this big section about the COVID-19 basics. So they're just really pushing hard for, how to stay safe and how to stay sanitized and wear your mask and all of that.
Well, of course they would, I guess. It's
blackhammer.org.
Yeah, I'm at libcom.org. Mm-hmm. I'm something else. Well, thanks for that. That's good to know, because it's, really? Come on. Well, Operation Drag Floyd intends 3 outcomes. 3 outcomes are that they intend on you. They want to provoke you to one of these 3 outcomes. They want to provoke you to submission, which is ultimately what destroys kids. They want to provoke you to reaction. And then ultimately they want to provoke you to compel and coerce you into the solution. These all suit their goals. In submission, it means that children are exposed to grooming. Children are exposed to psychological damage and eventual self-destruction at the end of a path of activism that wrecks families and the community. When they provoke you to reaction, they know that some people react, perhaps violently, to the provocation to protect children. We all have that instinct. So that reaction is fed into the narrative arc that's already in the media. Rising anti-LGBTQ hate, quote unquote, and what Lindsay calls stochastic terrorism. This cannot happen. You cannot allow this to happen. This is certain defeat. This is a big L if we fall into this. Do not be violent. In fact, discourage violence. Your natural inclination to protect children will be turned into an opportunity for their provocateurs and their mainstream media agents to make a whole religion seem racist, barbaric, and unwelcome. They must be removed from society, they'll say. And they're good at this because they train for it. And the narrative arc is already prepared. In many cases, it's already been laid. It's nothing but a loss. Don't fall for it. And then they want to provoke you to solution. Lindsay writes, a strong man who actually serves the interests of the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, who the media reports is a far-right extremist, is going to appear. He's going to rise up. He's going to appear to be on your side. A lot like this Newsweek op-ed where the medical student came out and confessed that we did COVID all wrong. Someone like that, someone kind of like Donald Trump, is going to rise, right? And he's going to be a servant of the United Nations, the World Economic Forum. He's going to be a servant of the globalist movement, but he's going to say everything you want to hear. And the media is going to report that he is a far-right extremist. And he's going to come out with a solution. This is a lot like an Antichrist figure. He's going to present a solution to the problem, but this is just for one side. And his solution to the problem is going to be violence. If the provocation becomes severe enough, they expect us to gladly hand over our rights so that the authorities, whoa, I dropped my testing the waters. Testing the waters again. You guys don't remember that a couple years ago? I started the show out and I was like, we're going to test the waters tonight. And I knocked my water over into my lap.
You got fired up.
Yeah.
It's good, though. Keep preaching.
Well, we just have to make sure that we don't fall for this. Because if they provoke people and it becomes severe enough, then what the establishment is going to do is they're just going to say, well, it's just too dangerous out there, and they're going to expect you to gladly hand over your rights so that the authorities can punish the groomers. Are you listening to me?
Or we'll look at, again, like how they've tied this group, the Atomwaffen division, with being in cahoots with the armed forces and the Navy and the Marines.
Yeah, those articles. There's lots of articles out there.
So maybe we need to bring in the UN troops, because these other soldiers are compromised.
Right. Ultimately, that's what's going to happen. This grooming of the children serves many purposes. One of them is to get you so angry that you're going to call for whatever it takes to shut down this grooming. Then they've won. Of course, we
you're
do.
You're going to be begging for the solution that they've set before you to want.
That is an excellent point, and that's the way to say it. That's exactly how it needs to be verbalized. You're going to be begging for their solution. If you fall for their
booby
ruse.
Traps.
Yeah. This is the pit. Do not fall into the pit. There is no return from the pit. Don't fall into it. What can be done? First of all, you can protect your kids individually. Tell friends and neighbors to protect their kids individually. Do not try to save them all. Number 2, publicize these escalations so that consciences can get shocked and the half-captured, half-asleep law will be forced to recognize it. Number 3, do not be violent. Do not encourage violence. Condemn violence as a solution or reaction. Now, for those of you who are going to want to leave a comment, we're not talking about self-defense here. We're talking about falling for a trick, falling into a trap. Discourage violence. Condemn violence. Don't be violent. Don't fall for the trap of using violence as a solution or as a reaction. Number 4, spread the word about the logic of these operations, about how they're laid well in advance for you to walk right into it. Number 5, do not trust the strong men that show up with solutions. When you see that conservative, perhaps professing Christian who shows up with the solutions and it has in some way to do with violence, those may be proffered to you on purpose. Number 6, break the narrative with truth. Now that's what we really we really try to offer here. Unconventional warfare. Tell the truth with evidence about drag queen story hour and all of it. There's no need for emotion. Tell the truth about provocation and enemy strategy. But more, tell the truth about why people are upset. People are not upset. It's not rising anti-LGBTQ hate. It's the grooming of kids and societal provocation is why people are upset. Make it crystal clear. If you want to move the masses on the issue, that will be done with caution. It will take some planning, and it will require a lot of prayer. Persecution is a promise from Christ. If you're a follower of Christ, persecution is a promise. Indeed, all who desire to live godly in Christ will be persecuted, 2 Timothy 3:12. But that does not mean we're to do nothing about it. Christians are to be active, promoting the gospel first, working against the rise of secularism, and seeking to present the truth of God's word to the lost. And for doing this, we will face opposition. The point is this: the actual doctrines that are at stake here aren't the doctrines of the He Gets Us campaign. They're not the doctrines of Dallas Jenkins and the Chosen. The actual doctrines that are at stake here are not Kenneth Copeland's church's doctrines. It's not Sean Foyt's revivalism movement. All of those will be approved versions of Christianity. What's at stake here are the doctrines of fundamental Christianity, period, everywhere, all the time. Wherever biblical Christianity has been or is found. Al Mohler writes, so the logic of this argument is that if you are a fundamentalist, are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Well, now it's going to sound more like this. Are you now or have you ever been a member of First Baptist Church or Grace Community Church or whatever? Are you now or have you ever been a faithful, biblical Christian holding to the doctrinal convictions of Christianity through 2 millennia? If you think that's not so much a pressing question, let me tell you, it is the only important question behind this development in the news. We need to understand that the argument is easily understood as a direct assault on the ability of fundamental Christians to participate in the public square and to speak on public issues. The argument here that they provide is that your religious beliefs disqualify you because your religious beliefs are outside the appropriate pale of discourse in the United States of America today. The truth is, everybody has a God. Everybody has a religion. Only one of them is true. And these movements